Hey, what's going on, everyone? Vega here for SerpentX Tech, and I just got a quick talking head video. Going to present you some data regarding the pricing of ASICs in the future, in 2025 and beyond, especially if the USA is going to do what it's planning to do with the tariffs and all that good stuff. So you're seeing a lot of vendors, not just Nvidia, AMD, EVGA. Well, EVGA doesn't even make GPUs anymore, unfortunately, but let's say Zotac and PowerColor and all these other vendors that are preparing for launches, right? The 5090, the 5000 series from Nvidia, the 8800 series from AMD, CPUs, GPUs, ASICs, FPGA chips, all of these manufacturers or vendors or sellers of this equipment is loading up in North America, but they can only get so much supply. So what's going to happen is when we run out of local supply here in the States, they're going to have to buy from outside, and that's going to cause tariffs. Now, they can move to other locations like Singapore or wherever in order to try to circumvent some of these tariffs or some of the taxes that's going to get put on them, but they're eventually going to run out of supply, and the pricing of units, especially in the crypto industry during the bull run, is going to continue to climb. Are you prepared for that? So on ASIC miner value, you know, the AL1 Pro from Bitmain, 16.6 terahash, is doing about $50 a day at 10 cent per kilowatt hour valuation as far as electricity. Excuse me, 15 cent per kilowatt hour. And then the 15.6 terahash is 47. Then you got a bunch of the script miners, which are looking really steady or consistently profitable, right? Whether it's the AlphaPex DG1 Hydro at 47 or the L9 17 gigahash at 46, which is my recommended choice. Check out a link down in the description to Crypto Miner Bros where you can buy one of these. But we're going to talk about the vendor pricing here in just a second. Either way, these miners, you can see the best price on ASIC miner value are $8,000, and depending on which one you get, like for example the AL3, 3,400. So that one might look more attractive, but the project that it's mining, profitability may not be as consistent or reliable as a script miner. So that's a risk and a risk tolerance that you yourself need to go through. But once these $8,000 units or $4,000 units fall out of stock and they're no longer available, 2025 is here. We're into Q2 of 2025. You're going to see an increase in prices. And I want you to look at the difference in like the top 3 or top 5 or 6 vendors pricing on some of these miners versus the bottom, right? We go from $8,600, right, between the top 3 here, straight up to 14 grand, 10 grand, 16 grand. What do you think is going to happen when the prices of these miners have to be put, the tax of it basically has to be put onto you, the end user or consumer? Now, obviously, if you buy in bulk because you're a large operation, you got the capital, then you might be able to get a discount. But these miners, while they are expensive now, are just going to get more expensive in the future, unfortunately. There might be ways that the companies are going to circumvent it. It's not going to be a big deal. So I wouldn't panic. But I'm just saying, like, if you're interested in getting hardware, just like the PC community or the tech community have been advising the gamers, if you're going to build something, go ahead and start grabbing the parts now. Even if you can't build a full system, CPU here, GPU there, motherboard there, you know, accumulate, right? Whether you use the Black Friday deals or the Cyber Monday deals that already have passed to accumulate the main components. And then, you know, even if the tariffs or the prices of the, you know, like storage or memory go up, you at least have the main components. So it's not going to be such a huge hit. Now, looking at, I think the L9 17 gigahash, again, the top 6 is right around 9,000. But then all of a sudden we get into 12,000, 13,000, 14,000, so on and so forth. And this is before, maybe they're pricing in the tariffs. Maybe they're already pricing in the tariffs, but I think most of these prices are going to be because of the bull run and the increased demand for these miners. And if we scroll up and look at the profitability, again, script miners are more consistent right now. They've been consistent throughout the bear market. They haven't been as profitable as some of the Caspa and Lithium miners, but they've been consistent. And that's what a lot of miners are looking for. A lot of at least larger or mid-scale operations, consistent profitability. Where we look at the lithium miner, you can see the profitability, at least over the past 3 months, has diminished. Over the past 6 months, it's diminished quite a bit. So your risk tolerance, you need to understand what that is and understand where you are in your position. Can you afford to buy 10 $9,000 miners? Because in the long run, it's going to be good when Doge and Litecoin and other merge mining assets are going to pump. Now, looking at hashrate.no, kind of same story, right? We got a consistent profitability for any of our script miners. Same thing with the AlphaPex Hydro. And then when we look at Lithium, we're pumping recently, which the market has took a bit of a dip at time of filming, but again, that's the ebbs and flows of the market. But what about the cost of these miners? That's the big thing I want you to pay attention to, is the cost of these miners. Looks like they just updated this page. Let's refresh. So the Lithium miners, the average is 9,000, but then we go from 9,000 with Vipera to 9,600, 9,600, 9,700, 9,800, 10 grand, so on and so forth. So while crypto miner bros may not always be the best price, right, comparatively, they do offer competitive pricing, and they do have stock here in the States. And I know Nhash is another one where they have some supply here, but I'm willing to bet from a number of my sources and communications that I had that all of these vendors are, if they do not have a United States location opened up, they have a facility here in the States where they are loading and stocking up on this equipment to try to hold, go as far as they can, depending on the demand. And what we're going to see is probably a Q2 2025, Q3 2025 increase in the machine's price. And now you're going to have to spend $14,000 on what you could have bought for $9,000. You're going to have to spend $20,000 on what you could have bought for $14,000. And it's not only just going to be because of the tariffs and what's going on, because again, I believe they're going to be able to circumvent some of that and do legitimate business with the United States, still get the miners and their operations, their equipment. But oftentimes, especially when we had the GPU shortage, what we saw is vendors, resellers, putting that extra cost that they have to pay onto the end user, onto the consumer. So if you're in a position to go ahead and grab equipment now, I would say do it. But we don't know the future, and we don't know how things are going to pan out. But I can tell you that the bull market is ongoing. The market will continue to climb up. We might have a great 2025, even 2026, and then taper off or pull back into 2026, the beginning of 2026 or the end of 2025. We might not. So if we have a continuous bull market and these vendors run out of local supply here in the States, they're going to pull from their warehouses outside the United States, and they're going to get taxed, which means you're going to pay a higher price for the same machine. Now, if you would have bought these machines prior to the bull market, right, let's say before November anytime, you would have been doing really good right now. And you could have got a L7 for like $3,800 to $3,200. Well, now that's going to be a lot more, right? Because the bull market is in. An L9, let's say that you could have got it for $7,000, maybe $6,500. Well, now it's $8,900. So you need to understand, one, obviously, what is your capital? What is your position? Do you have the availability financially to buy these miners? And two, what is your risk tolerance for the miners you're buying? Are they on projects that you and your operations can sustain even during the bear market? Otherwise, you're going to have to liquidate these ASICs, pull back or tighten the curtain, and then buy ASICs again in the future. But just be aware that not only is this going to impact the gaming sector with CPUs, GPUs, storage, NAND flash, memory, but obviously it is going to impact ASICs, which use many of the same components, or at least the same processes for some of the same components. That's going to impact the crypto mining arena as well. And because crypto mining profitability is not the best in the world, at least not compared to the early days when everybody used to mine Ethereum, GPUs, and ASICs. You're going to see an opportunity here where people, businesses, resellers are going to take advantage of, hey man, I got to pay more, so you got to pay more. And so the demand may continue to climb And because people are willing to spend $10,000 for a unit that they should only buy for like 6,500, they're going to keep the price there, and then you're going to have to continue to buy at a higher rate. The same thing what we saw with the GPU markets, right? Now the 5090 or the 4090 is almost a $2,000 GPU, and it's probably going to release as a $2,000 GPU. Where back in the day, say like the 900 series, 700 series, it was a 700, maybe right below $1,000 GPU. It's just continuing to climb up as the economy has changed, as well as the demand and the thirst for new technology, the best processes, the fastest chips, the fastest memory has grown to such a ravenous appetite that we're willing, at least maybe not me and you, to spend big money for something that the consumer really should be paying a lot less for. So don't get played, be smart, understand your risk tolerance, and prepare yourself as best you can depending on your operation. There's plenty of great individuals out there. If you are running a crypto mining farm, mid-scale, large-scale, and you're having some questions and some concerns, why don't you go hit up Mike, Bits Be Trippin', right? The Django, GPU mining farm, but if you're a large-scale, mid-scale operation and you have some questions or concerns, why don't you hit up Mike from Bits Be Trippin' or Scott? If you're a GPU miner, why don't you hit up the Django or TeraHash? Like, make sure you put yourself in a better position to not only reap the rewards in the bull market, but not also get screwed over by whatever tax or increased costs is going to ensue on said components or electronic devices. Either way, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And do me a favor on the way out. Hit that like button, get subscribed, hit the notification bell to stay up to date. So let's check out additional links in the description. That'll support the channel and what we do here. And you just have yourself a wonderful day. Take care. I'll catch you next one.